Good morning from Puerto Madryn, where this is my fourth day here. I've not actually been around the city yet, so I thought I'd have a little wander around, but mainly because that this is the place where the Welsh settlers came all the way from Wales. They looked around the place when they first landed. It's a lot different from what it was back then, but the land was too dry. They couldn't grow anything, so they went inland. So my question to myself was, why is there now a city here if the Welsh didn't want to be here? So I am starting from the waterfront, and I'm going to have a wander onto this pier here, because somewhere down the bottom is a military ship. You can just see in the background there. And from there, I'm going to get a better view of Puerto Madryn from the sea. So the pier itself is about 447 meters long. It was built in 1909 and it was upgraded in 2003 to allow cruise ships to park alongside it. Now, I wouldn't expect this many people out because it is a Monday lunchtime. There's a lot of people fishing. Now they get about 40 cruise ships a season, and that gives them about an extra 50,000 people for that season coming to Puerto Madryn. And if you look out, there's a lot of little boats, yachts, just sailing. Wow. And although the blue skies are out, the sun is shining, it's about 18-19 degrees, and most people are wearing jeans and hoodies. Not me. I've got my t-shirt and shorts on and my flip-flops, and that is only because my hoodie and my tracksuit bottoms are in the laundrette getting washed. One of the reasons Puerto Madryn and Patagonia is famous is because of its wildlife. And around here you will get orcas, penguins, obviously not on the pier. But there's a national park down that way where I was talking to a guy in the hostel yesterday. He went to an orca spot where it's well known for seeing the killer whales. He was there for 3 hours, didn't see any. So he came back. He's going to attempt again today. He's determined to see one. But you do see them around here as well. And there are colonies of penguins about a 2-hour drive from down that way. Bit too far from me. And you can do tours around here, but they are so expensive. In the hostel itself there is a tour that you can do diving with seals. That's 165,000 Argentinian pesos. That works out about £85. Ouch. But people will pay it. I think that's the military ship. I only know this because it says so on the map, saying military area. I wonder if these yachts are in a competition. You can see like a big bunch of them just there. I'm not too sure if that is a military ship or not, but behind me is a little poster telling you all about the southern right whale. It is so much. That's what it looks like with its calf. But it's just got here basically when they're here. They come along to breed. So that's another wildlife that you can get here. And the wildlife tourism has only been going on since the 1970s, so about 50 years. I think I might be getting to the end. So I've come to the end of how far I can go. This is like the port area, the cruise ship landing area. But when you look back on the land, it's a big old city. Goes on for a bit down there. Oh, and you can just see the boats are still doing their stuff. But I'm going to head down to the centre. So when you come off the pier, there's a little statue there for that a tail of a whale. But there's just this little thing here. So even before the Welsh arrived here, this coastline was already being explored hundreds of years beforehand. And this is just marking 500 years since the first trip around the world, which was done by Fernando de Magallanes. He was the guy who did the first global round the world trip. So with the Welsh inland building up their communities, getting their Welsh utopia together, the Mimosa had already gone back to say that it was successful, and then more Welsh people started coming across. One of the things they brought with them all the time they landed was sheep, and then sheep farming inland started getting bigger. Now I was curious that how would they know ships had arrived? But they didn't have telephones in them days. So basically you'd have a Welsh guy on his horse just trotting around in the area. He would see a ship out there, gallop back to see a ship's arriving, and then one guy would say, oh, I've got a birthday card that needs to go back for my Auntie Jean. And obviously these ships would take him about 2 or 3 months to get over here, bringing more Welsh guys. But with the sheep farming, they started getting wool, and they realised that wool was an important industry back in the UK, and that they could actually do business. So they started building sheds around here to store the wool, and then when ships went by to drop things off to go back to UK, then they would just board the wool on and send on its way, along with the birthday card for Auntie Jean. But it would take so much trouble, effort to get all this wool by horse and cart from all the individual Welsh communities back here. So they had to come up with a plan. They had to get in touch with the English, where they had escaped from, to say, we need railway. We need some way of getting wool to here easier. So British railway engineers came along and started planning all these railway lines. Immigration started coming along to help them do the work. A port was built at the very bottom just for the Welsh wool to get out, along with other things like meat and letters to Auntie Jean. And then it started getting bigger and bigger, and the first railway station built here is just around the corner, and there it is, just in front of the bus terminal. And as this town at the time got bigger, oops, try not get knocked over, it attracted immigration from Spain, Italy and other parts of Argentina who wanted to come along to the Welsh wool boom. I think this is a museum now. So this sign just says the railway was approved in 1884. It was opened in the 12th of June 1889, and the first line went from here all the way to Trelew. Now if you think about it, the first Welsh settlers arrived here in 1865. This opened in 1889. That's 24 years. Now you might think, well, that's a fair old time. No, it's not. There was nothing here when the Welsh arrived. 24 years later, there is a wool boom. That's quick. So I've come around to the back of it, and this place actually closed down in 1961. But there is an original train here with original line. No, I don't think you can go in. That's a shame. Wow, there's a lot of graffiti. Although Puerto Madryn has a Welsh name, the Welsh didn't really have much to do with this place. They were too busy being Welsh inland in their own little communities. The name came from when the 150 settlers first came, and they just went, this land in sight, Madryn, that's it. So the immigrants that came here, the Argentinians that built the city, it's built on a grid system like the majority of Argentinian cities and towns. And just over there is the main square. I'll have a quick look, even though you've seen it already in a previous video. And while I was at the railway station, I did pop into the bus station, the bus terminal, just to have a look at where buses go to, because I am leaving tomorrow, and I just needed to get a rough idea of prices. Not cheap. And I've got a rough idea of where I could go. Still deciding. And this square is actually really nice. I've been here in the night time where all the lights are on and there's people just chilling. In fact, I might do a video of an Argentinian city at night, because I've not done one yet. And I know there'll be people who'll be watching this video going, well, the history you've just given is not quite right. You've missed out on a bit. I've only simplified it, because there is a lot of information that's in my head and I've missed out a bit. But I think I've given it a good go. And even the churches are Catholic, which would not have been for the Welsh. It's quite handy that there's a little sign here that I can actually read. So the first layout of the streets around here was in 1906, and this church was built in March the 4th, 1916, the day after my birthday, as in March the 4th, not the year. I'm not that old. And in the park across the road from the church is this. It's a memorial to 25 firefighters who died fighting fire just on the outskirts of the city. And it's things like this where you don't expect to find, but it does give you an insight into the city itself. And it's, the statue itself is of a firefighter with wings. Quite powerful. So that was Puerto Madryn. It's not really got like a historical centre like a lot of the Argentinian cities have, but this was built on Welsh wool, and it's just got expanded over the years, over the decades. But unfortunately, I've got to go back and collect my laundry. I need to get my hoodie and warm gear just in case the temperature drops. But if you've enjoyed this little video, then all you got to do is press that like button. I am going to go out tonight and do a video of the lights, the people, the chilling. So if you want to see that, then subscribe. But until the next time, bye bye for now.